Behold, a book that'll solve all your problems and fulfill all of your dreams.
For the purpose of this video, we will assume all your problems and dreams relate to playing a brass instrument. If this is not the case, you can be content knowing you've chosen an easier life.
This is the third edition of Brass Tactics, and I might be overselling it just a tad, but what you'll get in this book is the culmination of what I've learned in nearly 50 years as a professional musician and educator. And if you're new here, my name is Chase Sanborn, and I'm a jazz trumpet player based in Toronto. If you'll abide a brief bit of history, Brass Tactics was my first book, and it was published in the 1990s. It was an outgrowth of an extensive series of magazine columns, and it reflected my own pedagogical approach to playing the trumpet, but it was also a compendium of other thoughts and approaches. Now, that's still true of the new edition. I didn't know it at the time, but that book started me down two new career paths as an author and as a teacher. My second book was a follow-up titled The Brass Tactics Companion. Whereas Brass Tactics focused on actually playing the instrument, the companion added real-world context from the perspective of a working musician, and you'll still find a lot of that in the new edition as well. In the mid-2000s, I combined and revised the first edition of Brass Tactics and the companion into a single volume, which I called the Brass Tactics Second Edition. It came with a demonstration CD and DVD, but today you'll find the audio-visual components of my pedagogy on this channel. Over the next decade or so, I published other books, which include jazz tactics, tuning tactics, and music business tactics. Then in 2018, I returned to the topic of brass playing with the publication of the Brass Tactics 660 routine. The goal in designing 660 was to create a series of relatively short exercises that would form the basis of an efficient and comprehensive practice routine, one which covers all the bases of sound production in about an hour, and you'll learn more about that in the next video. Now in 2026, I've published the third and what I think is probably the final edition of Brass Tactics. I've chosen the most relevant topics from the previous four books, and I've included the entire 660 routine, which was previously published as a separate volume. This is the Brass Tactics that I would have written 30 years ago if I knew then what I know now. Today's reader gets the benefit of everything that I've learned since then, and the advances in technology like YouTube, which allows me to continually supplement the written word with audio and video. That perhaps begs the question of what is the value of a book when so much content is available for free online? Well, it would require a lot of videos to impart all the information that I can include in a book, and even then you don't have the printed page to use as a reference, particularly with something like the Brass Tactics 660 routine. I also think that you get something from reading a book that's different from what you get watching a video. In some strange way, it feels a little bit more interactive, like it requires a higher level of concentration to consume the information. And if you agree with that, let me know in the comments. While we're on the topic, I'll take a minute to address why I don't publish my books in PDF. This is a question that I get a lot, especially with the high cost of shipping. I do embrace a digital lifestyle in general, and I have a lot of method books on PDF. The truth is, though, that they are somewhat out of sight and out of mind. The books that I work from the most invariably are the ones that are on my music stand. Another aspect of this is that I feel a printed book allows me to make a more direct connection with the reader. When you order a book from my website, I see your name, and I'll inscribe it if you request that. I see where the book is going, and over the years I've shipped books around the world to scores of countries. I think when people receive a book in the mail, signed and shipped by the author, well, that's far more meaningful than a digital file that's transmitted anonymously. And I think because of that connection, and maybe even because of the investment that's required, a reader is more likely to make use of a printed book, and more use equals greater value, in my book. Now, that said, I know I've mentioned in another video that more than one person has sheepishly admitted to me that they own one of my books, but they haven't yet read it. And I love to tell the story of a person who came to my booth at a trade show and was shocked to discover that I was alive, presuming that an author is most likely dead. So I am alive, at least for the moment, and I appreciate everyone who watches my videos. The production of which is supported by book sales and other products, and also from people who come to me for online lessons. You can learn more and order your signed copy of Brass Tactics at chasesanborn.com. The next video, which will appear at the top of your screen, and I'll also link it in the description, will feature a series of demonstrations and discussions related to the Brass Tactics 660 routine. So watch that one next, but before you do, please make sure to give this one a like and subscribe for more thoughts from the mind of a jazz trumpet player.